it was so, just knew it was so off. Now, keep in mind, going to church for kids, getting raised. Later they would go to Phoenix Christian Junior Senior High and so on. I had enough W stickers in my face to last me, okay? So I know the perspective of the conservatives. Now the thing is that, at church, these issues, they're brainwashing you there too. So a libertarian-minded individual, you're kind of going, man, who writes your checks or something? What's going on here? Here, what did I do? I took a crayons and I made an American flag. And it's in just, crayons, red, white, blue, little stars, and I drew flames at the bottom. And I wrote underneath, burn the symbol, save the meaning. I took it, folded it, put it in my wallet. Anytime this issue came up, I'm like, man, I don't even want to talk about it. Well, yeah, there you go. Want to discuss it? No. So I'm going, I'm anti-American. How you're sitting there advocating, burning flags and so on? No, the ability to. Something is no more than that oh man. Well, that may not be somebody else's cup of tea. I went out there burning them. I knew better. I like, doing that made me feel better. So that was my first thing. I'm just, just tired of being lied to. 1989, my father manufactured camping trailers for touring motorcycles. Gold wings, you see them with the little trailers and so on. He had two models, a cargo one and a sleeper one. It had a tent, folded out, room, all this kind of stuff called Alcan Traveler. I helped him with the artwork and getting printer to do the brochures and all that kind of stuff. It grew, got in travel magazines and these Gold Wing Road Rider or whatever magazines, Wing World and stuff. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted this thing. They wanted it more in Europe. This is what happened. When they took down the travel borders for, you'd go to France and Spain without having a passport, remember that? Before the Eastern Bloc fell, there was Western Europe, and they started getting this European Union thing going on. Okay, one of the benefits that they were touting, of course, was you should be able to drive around Europe like you're in the United States and not have checkpoints. Well, that comes later. But so what they did is they said, there's a lot of people wanting to do vacations in Europe. And the best way, especially these small streets and so on, is on a motorcycle, carrying your own, accommodations with you. And it was a high quality. This is 88. This thing cost $3,500. We're talking high quality here. Aircraft aluminum, stainless steel, fiberglass. Great. So my dad, I'm going, Dad, man, I go to his office, and he would have a stack of orders and requests, and we want to be distributors, and da-da-da-da-da. It was all he could do just to fill, one at a time, straight from manufacturer. He's shipping these crates around the country. And I go, Dad, to fill a sea container, you can take the wheels and that and do this, that. You get 30 of these in a sea container, and it's cheaper than shipping them here. You can ship them overseas and make bank. And they're bashing Toyotas in Capitol Lawn. We're going to save the planet. We're going to save America because we're going to export. It's our patriotic duty to export. Okay? So I go to him and he says, yeah, whatever, I'm not, I'm busy. You want to do that? Knock yourself out. So all I need is, I wanted to know, in Europe, you had, Spain, France, and Germany, and Netherlands, and Italy, and I'm going, which one do you go? What port do you go to get the lowest duty? Because some of them are like 20%. Some of them are lower, some of them are higher. For my father's product, Australia, for them to take and ship it to America, they would go to Canada with the wheels off, then it'd be disassembled. They put the wheels back on, no trade duty coming in from Canada, 0. For us to go to Canada, 60%. This is United States trade representatives. Remember, you're hearing 60 Minutes are making a big deal in the early 90s about how these trade representatives will do all the negotiations for Japan, then they get these low rates and so on to benefit them, then they quit their job and go to work for Japanese corporations and so on. This is what I'm waking up to as a young man. So I'm dealing with my father's company, and I'm going around trying to find the data of which country to go to. That's all I wanted to know. Heck no. Okay? This is what happened. In 1988, they passed a thing called the Omnibus Trade Competitiveness Act of 88. Okay? This was the first thing they did when Daddy Bush took over. Steve Mosbacher was Secretary of Commerce at the time. You had this is when the boys took over. Now, of course, Reagan, and back in '80, they go to him, they say, the only way you're going to see the White House is as a tourist unless you make, old Georgie boy here your VP. And the reason was, here's a guy, it's like CIA, ambassador to China, doing the UN kind of, hello? Is it a big giant stretch? He might be kind of a little bad guy, all right? So he comes in, they pass this Omnibus Trade Competitiveness Act. In there, it had all this trade data, of what the percentages were, different places around the world coming in. It's a complicated thing, but the bottom line was this. There was a portion in there to where that data was made available to the public. And how they did that is they send it to the state libraries. It's collecting dust in somewhere or something, just to comply with the law. And they pass it because, we love the junior high students, 7th graders doing a report on economic blah, 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 and it'll be made available, pass a law, right? So I'm going in, hello, I'm that guy. I want this data. Damn it, we hate when these guys do that. So I'm following this, going, there is my father's company, I'm kind of, helping him a little bit. He's not really interested in this anyway. I start pulling on this thread. I'm like, wait a minute, we got a bigger issue here. I could see what was going to happen by the time my kids got to be your age, which they are now. My oldest is 23, getting married this next Saturday. Oh, thanks for changing the... Yeah, that would have sucked. But what happened is now that they're becoming, of age, they're starting to see, why I had been doing all the stuff I had while they were little. Because I saw what was coming. This right here is just a sign. There was a bunch of other things, but this was, hardcore. It's easy for me to see and read. Government is nothing more than a gang with a flag. They will steal, molest, rape, murder, do whatever, okay? But they wouldn't do election fraud. That'd be wrong. So what happens is that these guys are just, they're evil. And you know why? Like, I figured it out after all these years, and so I get up here and I figured out why. Because they can. It's no more complicated than that. You go, well, why would they? Because they can. And they'll keep doing it until they can't. Now, there's a lot of reasons why they get to the point they can't, and we'll talk about that. So now we have this understanding, and I'm pulling threads. I'm dealing with my state, the U.S. Senator DeConcini out of Arizona. They're helping me. And this is back in the days of the highest electronics we had was faxes, okay? So I would go to his office. They'd give me permission to go in. I just send faxes, asking all these questions, and keep their economic advisor guy in Washington apprised or whatever. I just walk in, go use a fax. I found the power of having United States Senator Arizona on a fax. Ooh, people be answering your questions then. So I was going, oh, that's good. So I was having me some fun. I found out so much stuff, you wouldn't believe it, to the point that Steve Mosbacher, Secretary of Commerce, wrote a letter that I got copies of to DeConcini telling them to get me off his ass. Why? Because I was finding out some stuff. And there's a long story, it doesn't matter. The point is that about this time, in 1990, 89, it took me about 3 months to start seeing what was going on. In 1990, we had an election cycle for governor, okay? So I'm looking, I'm one of those guys, I'm 20-something years old. I don't want to be dealing with this. Who can I help? Who can I, somebody else I can go and I work for. I can help, bring this about. And then you find out, am I going to have to do it? I had, at the time, Governor Mofford had me in the office. Oh, yeah, we want to take care and help and this. And I know the guys from the Commerce sitting over here. Yes, Governor, yeah, they're not going to do it. We walk out and I go, you're not going to do it, are you? Nope. Then we have Symington that ran for his aides come. They want to meet with me and we love guys like you and we're going to empower the people. Democrats, the same thing. I got so many offers of jobs in departments of government and stuff, everything throughout this whole thing, but I knew them to be bad people and I was trying to dissociate from bad people. I knew better. I didn't want to be associated with these guys. So what happens was, I'm like, I'm going to have to do this. I looked at, how are they able to get away with this? Well, of course, they can. They do it because they can. How